thank you. I'll tell you what, we're going to go from high energy, adrenaline, and all of that goes with it to less stress and meditation.
Yes.
And Sarah McLean?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You look marvelous, by the way.
Well, thank you. It must be all that meditation.
Sarah, Sedona Meditation and Training Company?
Yes.
Okay, which says that you must train us how to do meditation.
I can do that.
Okay, because so many people don't know where to start. I'm one of them. They say, get your mind blank, like a blackboard. How do you blank out everything? Am I supposed to be thinking of anything? What if a thought crops? I mean, you have to learn to meditate.
Exactly. Well, you know what I find is a lot of people, there are a lot of tapes out there, there are a lot of books about meditation, but what my students tell me is that learning with someone, just to do it once with them, really helps them to realize they're doing it right. Because,
do it one time?
Well, if I do it with them one time, they realize they can do it, and then they have some confidence.
And it's so important in today's world. We're just talking about this. Things are coming a million miles an hour. You know, there's all these loose ends. How do we make sense of it?
Well, I call it taking time out for a time in.
Oh.
Really, because, I mean, think about it. If we could learn this as kids, instead of sending to someone who's misbehaving into their room, take a time out, just say, why don't you take a time in? Actually, they're doing a lot of research now on students learning to meditate. And it increases self-esteem. It helps them to make better choices because they're not constantly being barraged with information. They're just actually spending a little quiet time. But you brought up a good point where it said, you know, you have to quit thinking or quiet your mind, but that would be virtually impossible.
I know, and when I start, as soon as a thought pops into my mind, I think, oh, it's overdone, I've bowed it up.
See, that's the problem. That's when people quit. And really, in meditation, thoughts are a part of meditation. It's actually, that's a part of meditation. It's an indication that you're releasing stress. Now, it's different than when you're having a meditation, when you're having thoughts in waking state, like we're in now. That's not releasing stress. That's just the activity of the mind. But when you're meditating and your mind is starting to settle down, as you release stress in your mind or body, it starts to activate the thoughts again. And so what happens is you just refocus your attention back on the object of your meditation. A lot of people choose to meditate on their breath, on a word. Some people do it on a candle flame or a mantra. You can choose.
So it's like a focal point.
But you need to have another focal point. Otherwise, off goes the mind onto a shopping list or a football game.
Exactly.
What about folks that can fall asleep easy like me?
Yes.
So is that a...
Well, actually, it's if you can fall asleep easy, that's great. Do you fall asleep easy at night, though?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Well, some people find that meditation, actually 100% of all research subjects have been proven to sleep better or reduce their sleeping medication. And it's not because they're meditating right before bed. It's because they're meditating during the day and it releases enough stress and actually prevents insomnia.
Well, you know, and they say do not meditate as you're lying down in bed getting ready for sleep because that's not the process. You lose the process because
you're sleeping.
You're sleeping.
Right.
You said a little bit of interesting trivia before we went on the air that men release stress watching a football game.
Yes.
And women reduce and release it by shopping.
Yes, not necessarily buying.
I know,
right?
shopping, but looking.
Window shopping.
Why is that?
Well, stress is usually indicated by the cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it's released by the adrenal gland. And what happens is that's usually the measure of how much stress someone's under. For the male nervous system, when they increase their testosterone, their cortisol levels are decreased.
And watching the football, they are definitely increasing, aren't they?
Well, anything that has to do with going for a goal, whether they're watching someone going for a goal or if they're doing it themselves. And even a goal such as, honey, will you go and get me a quart of milk, or can you go empty that trash? You can't say, honey, would you pick up around the house, but you can say, pick up this, and they'll go dun da da da.
Oh, really? So give us a directive.
Specific that you can accomplish, and you can feel good.
And then we feel good about it.
Yeah.
I do feel good about taking out the trash. So that
and picking up, of course, is using their muscles.
Right, but it has to be a specific. It can't just be, oh, well, you do more around the house. It has to be a goal.
Yeah.
So that's one way that's one way that men can reduce cortisol levels. For women, we need to increase our oxytocin levels, which is done a number of ways. One is spending time with other women and being social. and also by window shopping or going out and just having unstructured time.
So again, when the men said, you know, you're always shopping, actually they're doing a favor for themselves when they're out there window shopping. And I think by and large, most women don't go out and spend a ton of money. They just want to get out there and browse the
unless
shops.
they have a ton of stress. They do. That creates more stress.
But doesn't buying something relieve stress too?
Well, that's sort of a trend.
Well, it depends on how much you pay for it.
Well,
right, and it's also transitory relief. It's not necessarily a, it's not necessarily a permanent type of stress relief.
Right, because as soon as you get home and realize what you've done,
it's over. Yeah, it's over.
You're really.
But meditation can be taught.
Yes, it can be taught. It can be learned. You can learn it right now. I was thinking I'd love to teach you, but dead air time, I'm not sure how that would work on TV.
Well, let's try it and see what AZTV says
Oh my
about
God, really? Okay, all right. Are you sure? I don't think. Why don't we do it at the break?
We will do it at the break, and we'll see if we are more relaxed when we come back after this commercial break. You stay there.
Okay.
No, I haven't fallen asleep. I'm just meditating, and it feels so good.
Wow.
It does relax. Just that short period of time. I think we did it about a minute in the break. We were talking, and then Sarah walked us through breathing, being conscious of the breath. So when you help someone, you're talking to them as you're meditating. So that's the help that you're giving them.
Initially, I do give them basic instructions. Close your eyes, and if you do this at home, just closing your eyes immediately starts to bring your attention more internally.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at how our bodies are designed, we're busy metabolizing our world. We're figuring out what we're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. And that's how we interact with the world. But the minute you close your eyes, you start to create the internal experience, like you're getting ready for sleep.
But the other thing you said is breathe in, you know, which was a natural thing. But you had such a soothing voice telling us that. So do we need that inner voice telling us that as we're doing this?
Well, I think what happens is your nervous system gets used to it. I mean, just as you were talking about, you can fall asleep easily. You can start to meditate easily. If you practice this on a daily basis, just bring your attention to your breath and the sensations in your body. And just when the thoughts come, continue to redirect your attention to the sensations of your breath. So thoughts aren't wrong, so don't beat yourself up. But continue to bring your attention back to the breath. And then do that. You can do it for 10 minutes at a time. Now, I look at meditation like brushing my teeth. I do it every day. I do it because it feels good immediately, but also to prevent tooth decay in the future. I don't think about it all day like, oh, it must be because I brushed my teeth today.
No, right, exactly.
Right,
No,
and I'm
that's
not
right.
looking for a real experience while I'm brushing my teeth. That's another myth, is people think they're supposed to have some wow experience in meditation. But truly, it's because we want to meditate just to release the stress.
The stress. Good stress, bad stress. There is both.
Well, I don't know about stress is stress.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be, I think stress has an effect on the physiology.
Is it how you channel it?
Yeah, it could be. It could be your attitude. It could be how you channel it. But stress over time has a damaging effect on the physiology. And if we don't have some sort of antidote to stress, I mean, sleep is obviously a great antidote. And watching sports for men and shopping for women, that's great. But over time, the stress that builds up is really a little too much. And because we can get in that fight or flight response on a regular basis, which is appropriate if you happen to be in the Super Bowl or if you happen to be in Iraq in war or in a natural disaster, or, if you're in an accident of some sort. Stress is a great response, but it's not such a great response if you have too many emails, or if you can't pay your phone bill, or if you get into a fight with your boss. I mean, the fact, in this fight or flight response, your cortisol levels go up, you start to sweat, the heartbeat starts to increase, your adrenaline goes way up, and that's appropriate.
So through evolution, stress was for our bodies, for either the flight or fight, for our defense.
Exactly. It was the survival mechanism, and right now we are basically the predator on the face of the earth, and so really have to deal with this on now, but our nervous systems haven't caught
I know
up.
time's running out, but I want to know the benefits. Can you share some of the benefits?
It's the perfect antidote for stress. What happens, first of all, is blood pressure gets lowered. It helps with sleeping patterns and eating patterns. Digestion improves completely because in the fight or flight, the circulatory patterns change, but in meditation, they normalize and help to increase your digestive capability. Of course, the self-esteem gets higher. The brainwave functioning gets sharper. They've even proven higher IQ, better memory, better levels of concentration, just a better experience in life.
We probably become more focused and centered and grounded.
It's how we do it, yes. It's one way.
Sarah,
it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You are terrific, and I gotta say, just that 1 minute made a difference in those quick sessions. So thank you so very much, Sarah.
Final thoughts and moments when we come back.